are these people?
I know this guy. I brought him a couple times. He recently published a book called Propaganda. He has a Substack called Equality Alex Propaganda something, Cop Watch or something. He wrote this thread about Medicaid cuts and the House, and we talked about Medicaid cuts last week. And he says, thread, a lot of attention is rightly going to Medicaid cuts and other very bad things in Trump's bill passed in the House, which did pass this week. But there's something isn't getting attention that's difficult to find in any news coverage, but that will fundamentally alter life for all of us. Well, now you have my attention. The bill provides $160 billion in border and immigration funding in the next 4.5 years. Wait, I'm going to repeat that line. The bill provides $160 billion in border and immigration funding in the next 4.5 years. It's hard to describe the unprecedented scope of this, but I'll try. Tens of thousands of armed agents in every corner of society are going to be nearly immune from state prosecution or civil suits. Wait, what? This article describes it more, but I want to focus on a few things. But first, when you build infrastructure like this and create new jobs and pensions for right-wing unions, it's hard to ever remove them. A new Gestapo could become a permanent feature of life, like we've seen Homeland Security become a permanent feature of life, which expanded CBP and rolled in all these other bureaus and became a much larger entity than it ever was. Second, the bill sets the stage for massive privatized for-profit concentration camps. Where are we hearing about that happening right now? 3 zones in Gaza we talked about earlier. It will quadruple the capacity of ICE to detain people, giving it the capacity to detain in for-profit arrangements where corporations make money per person per day, at least 100,000 more people. They want to be able to detain 100,000 people at a time or more. That's not scary or anything. Third, the United States would be flooded with new armed agents that are virtually unaccountable. The legal and institutional mechanisms by which any of them could be held accountable are almost non-existent, either in criminal or civil court. That's nuts. You must understand this in combination with the government's assertion that it can sell anyone it wants to indefinite lifelong torture camps in other countries, and that courts are powerless to bring them home, even if it's an error or the person is a U.S. citizen. Like this guy. ICE wrestled an Alabama worker to the ground and detained him for hours. He's a U.S. citizen. Young man was begging and shouting, "I'm a U.S. citizen," but that didn't stop them from dragging him to a detention center. Not following due process hurts us all and our economy. His family said ICE agents did release him after he was finally given the opportunity to prove he was a U.S. citizen, but only after many hours. This construction site in Foley, Alabama was then forced to shut down for at least a day. How many other businesses were affected? For what? For what? Attacking an American citizen as he was working. Because why? Was he a dissident? Did he say something? Did he look the part? No excuse. I wrote about how scary this all is and how the media's news coverage is enabling it. It's astonishing to me that there's almost no mainstream coverage of these aspects of the bill. He published that on his Substack there too. It's important to follow sources that can keep you updated, like Aaron Reich and Melnick. What a surprise. All right. Another chaotic scene in San Diego immigration court as ICE continues arresting people showing up for their court hearings. They're following the rules and they're getting swept up and deported. Fourth, we arrived at this point, not just through the far-right fear-mongering and bold fascist planning, the Democratic mainstream news and even many self-serving liberal professors and nonprofits are responsible. And it's vital to see that if we're going to change course. Yeah. Wait, you mean Democrats are also fascist like the Republicans are? Yes, they are. Thank you, Alec. Yes. This is the result of Dems and liberals not only building much of the infrastructure, yes, cop cities and everything else, but engaging in flat earth fear-mongering about immigration and crime that bears no relation to fact. Because it preys upon people's fears and it fills up their coffers. But it's deeper. It's about immoral, unserious, and incoherent elite liberal framing and positions. Yes. The anti-fascist coalition must not adopt the lies, mythologies, assumptions, and policies of the fascists. Don't use their language. Most of what you've been told about crime, immigration, policing, etc. is propaganda that must be rejected by people who care about a better, more just, less violent world. Like me. Like us. The core lies shared by Democrats, Republicans, and the New York Times, that's called the Uniparty, are 1. That the greatest threats come from poor people, especially people of color, immigrants, and strangers, because they don't. 2, that violence is always increasing. And 3, that state violence or repression and punishment are the solution to make us safe. Which, of course, we know it never is, but only makes them feel more safe because the police are designed to protect them. Each is false. Most interpersonal violence is perpetrated by people who know each other. And scope of death and property crime caused by people with money and power dwarfs all the petty crime that they talk about is nothing compared to the corporate crime that they do. Interpersonal violence is at historic lows, but you wouldn't see that. And evidence is more repression doesn't make us safe. This is why I studied the role of institutions like the news and academia in the rise of authoritarianism and wrote Propaganda, which you should buy. All royalties are donated to charity, and we have free copies for all students, anyone in prison, and anyone who can't afford it. He released it February. I mean, he says it has a chapter based upon 2 progressive Harvard professors who proposed, based on ludicrous, embarrassing analysis, the biggest expansion of militarized police in world history, seeking 500,000 more armed cops. It's vital to see the role of such people in normalizing authoritarianism. Really, really good stuff from Alec. Really good stuff. If you're able to, and it means, please support the independent media you want to see. Those are the amazing people that have already done so. The ways to do it are Cash App, $Indie News Network, Kodashfee.com/Indie News Network, PayPal.me/Indie News Network, and at INNnewsletter.com. Continue to support independent media because we need it more than ever. So many propagandists out there. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone. No! We just fucking lost the stream!
You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen? 50,000 died, and now we know our mission. We form a militia, make Congress a prison.